Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Now in this video we're going to take a slightly different format to normal. We're actually going to look at some objects and we're also going to look at the auction as well, all in one video. So you get to see the items, hear a little bit of info about them, and then also get to see if that estimate was realised. Now this sale in particular, this is the Antique and Interiors sale. These don't come around very often, in fact we only have 4 of them a year. So normally when we're talking it's all about the antiques and collectibles sales, which is in our ground floor sale room downstairs from where I am right now. Those sales are every 2 weeks and it's the more everyday items. Still, as you've seen, we do get some items fetching in the thousands, but this is more commonplace with the Antique and Interior sale, those better items that it's taken us a little longer to collect. Now the last one we had was in November, we're now of course in March, so it's taken 3 months to get this sale ready and to save all those necessary objects. Now in order to deliver that format by showing you the items and the auction all in one video, I've obviously had to record some of this ahead of time. So whenever you see me in this video in this setting, this is about a week ago. So I've recorded this on Sunday, the 3rd of March, the day before the sale. So tensions are running pretty high. I'm really quite stressed right now, not really feeling very good. All this will change tomorrow after the sale. I'll feel enormous relief and hopefully we'll have had a good sale. All that pressure will be off and those 3 months of hard work will seem like they were all worth it. But as I said, now I don't really feel very good. A little bit worried about tomorrow, but I think a little bit of tension is good. That helps you perform at your most optimum. So as I said, the sale is tomorrow. We're all set up now. Everything's looking nice. The catalogue's printed. Floors have all been hoovered. The sale room's looking really good. The catalogue's been online for about 2 weeks now, so it's collecting and gathering interest. And that's another point of interest. That's what makes everything a little bit more worrying now. In the good old days when I first started, this was very early 2000s, 2001 when I came to work here for my father. Things were a bit different. We did have online catalogues, but they didn't really play much of an important role. You had a lot more people actually coming to view the items. People then left commission bids and phone bids. The sale rooms are much fuller. So you really had a good idea of what sort of level of interest there was. It was much easier to gauge whether you were going to have a successful sale. But now, of course, everybody can bid online from home. The whole sale's fully illustrated. Sometimes items have got up to 10 images online. We've done full condition reports in most, if not all cases. So people really should have all the information they need to bid from home with confidence in the sale. That, of course, means we have absolutely no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, it always comes good in the end, but it doesn't stop those doubts, those nagging doubts and that worry from creeping in. So I started doing these YouTube videos with an Antique and Interior sale. We've had only one other one, so we've only documented 2. This is the 3rd. Now, it's been tradition so far, has always been to show a piece of Asian art. And the reason for that is, as I'm sure you all know, Asian art at the moment is one of the most performing areas within antiques. So we'll start with this item. It is an old piece. It's 19th century. I mean, that's not old relatively compared to other bits of Asian art, but it's a 19th century piece, so it's a good antique, it's got some age, and it's a nice handsome vase, and in this shape, which is what we call hexagonal baluster. So it's hexagonal in shape, and it's got this baluster shape, so like the balustrades of a staircase or a terrace. So hexagonal baluster, that's the shape. And it's got these twin handles there, which are formed as mythical beasts, mythical creatures. And then it's really nicely painted all the way around in what's called the famille vert palette. So it's got lots of these hues of green there. Vert, I think that's the French, is it, for green? That's why they call this one famille vert, the green family. And the glaze is really quite interesting as well. When we look at it, it's got this lovely texture, which is sometimes referred to as orange peel texture. It's got all these little bubbles and ripples. But what really is striking about this vase for me is that colour palette. They're quite soft, there's lots of colour, and it is very nicely painted. You see all kinds of varieties of competence in china enamelling, and this one is quite pleasing. I could quite easily live with that, and that's usually a good indicator if you're looking at items out there. I mean, if we're looking at items for financial purposes, you don't often think about, could I live with that? But that's a really good starting place. If you could happily live with that at home, chances are it's quite a good thing. It's completely unmarked underneath, and this to me says that's probably a piece meant for export. So it was made in the 19th century to be shipped over to Europe and would have probably at one time had a pair with it. So I think they're most likely, for the size of them, a nice pair of handsome mantle vases. But sadly we just have the one. In terms of condition, it's pretty good. There's no restoration whatsoever, no cracks. There's a little chip on that corner there on the rim and on one of these little beasts' noses. Other than that, it's pretty good. The enamels are good, not too worn, so it's in nice condition. Now we've got a catalogue estimate of £200 to £300. It's just to reflect to all the bidders out there. This came from a local estate, local house. There's no reserve, it doesn't belong to a dealer. Whatever it makes on the day, it will be sold. So that estimate should really reflect that. There are 21 people watching online, and that's not really unusual given that it's a nice piece of Chinese porcelain. So 21 watchers, a good healthy amount of interest. So as promised, we're actually going to show what the item made now. See, this is weird for me because I'm filming now, I've got no idea where we're going to be, but you're all going to see that right now. So we're going to skip to future me at home and review the auction. That all seems like so long ago, but anyway, let's roll the tape and see how that went on. Lot number 39 now is the 19th century Chinese family rose hexagonal baluster vase. Interest online at 240, 260 we're looking for. Any advance now 260. Two internet bidders looking for 280. With 260 online looking for 280. Any advance? No interest in the room, we're at 260 only then. Online at 260 and selling. So did it go well? Gotta really hope so. Not too bad at all really. Within estimate in the early part of the sale, so starting to get a bit of traction and get rid of those nerves, ready for the rest of the sale. Anyway, let's move on to the next object, and it's another piece of porcelain, but it's for an area of porcelain that's not particularly as buoyant at the moment in the market of antiques. And this time we're looking at an English piece of porcelain. Now, ever since the start of this channel, I really wanted to feature a piece from the Chelsea factory, which is what we're going to do right now. So this is quite a good moment for me. I mean, in the whole scope of antiques, porcelain is my particular interest, and within porcelain, it's English porcelain. And within English porcelain, it's Chelsea. In my mind, this is the best factory in the world. So this Chelsea plate, its shape and design, the way it's moulded, it's known as the Gotskowski style. And it's because it's named after a Meissen original, so a very famous German factory originally made this service and called it the Gotskowski pattern. And it's named after Johann Ernst Gotskowski, who was a wealthy Prussian merchant. But the Meissen factory influenced this smaller English factory, and hence we have a Gotskowski style plate made by Chelsea. So this plate in particular is over 250 years old. It dates from roughly 1755. So it's from what's known as the Red Anchor period of the Chelsea factory. It's so called because pieces from this period often have a little red anchor painted on the inside of the foot rim. That's not the case in this instance. This plate is completely unmarked. So how do we know that it is what I'm saying it is? Well, first of all, obviously the shape and design, but I mean, we've said it's not a Meissen one. A Meissen would be hard paste porcelain, this is soft paste porcelain. But underneath we can see these three stilt marks. That's a feature not unique to Chelsea, but it's certainly a feature that you will see on Chelsea porcelain. Another thing we can look out for, we can look at the translucency of the dish by shining a strong light through it. And a feature which I think is pretty unique to Chelsea is something called moons. And it's these little circular discs there, and what that is, it's air bubbles trapped inside. You won't see this on every piece of Chelsea, but you'll see it on a lot of this Red Anchor period. What I like about this one in particular, these 4 panels of flowers and this little central bouquet, they're really exquisitely painted. Serious artists there. And when we look closely, they're in lovely colour hues, and there's little outlining around all those little petals. And this again is influenced by a French factory, the Van Sant factory. So lots of influences going on there, and which leave us with what I think is a really pleasing looking object. Now, to reflect that it's not in particular buoyant market at the moment, there are only 3 people watching this online. So 3 sort of die-hard English porcelain fans. We've got a catalogue estimate of 150 to 250. There's no pre-bids yet, so let's just see on the day. I think it's worth every bit of that. It's in lovely condition and it's really nicely moulded and painted, so it would be a good addition to anybody's collection. Lot 240 Chelsea plate after a Meissen original, Gotskowski moulding, painted with flowers. Whether you be start me 150, 150 star, 150 to start. 150 bid in the room looking for 160. Bids at 150 now in the room, 160 with it. 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 220. Some good old-fashioned room bidding. Bids at £200, at 20 with you. At £200 and away. Not too bad, and right smack in the middle of the estimate. Somebody's got themselves a really nice plate, and it is actually going to a private collection. So the next object we're going to look at is far too heavy to balance on this very delicate Victorian breakfast table. So I've had to put it on the serving table behind me on a pad to protect the wood. And it's this bronze Air Ministry Raf Scramble Bell. It's from the World War II period. Of all the three objects we're looking at today, this is the one with the most online interest. And at present there are 25 people watching it online. So it would have been on an RAF airfield, and they call them scramble bells, but that's most likely just a romantic term. It may have been used to raise alarm and to scramble aircraft, but would have also probably had a multitude of other uses within the RAF airfield, fire bell for example. But they're incredibly collectible. It's got the monogram of the Air Ministry, which is crowned, and underneath is the date of 1942. And this has been black enamelled. This is wearing off a little bit, but you would expect that. There's little dings here and there to the bronze also, but no big chips or cracks. It's also got its clanger underneath, so you can also ring it if you so wish. People that are interested in military history, and particularly the RAF, really must own one of these. So we've got a catalogue estimate of £500 to £800. Let's have a look at the auction now. Lot 359 is the World War II Air Ministry RAF Scramble Bell. Broad arrow mark, and bids online at 550, 600 we're looking for. That was an auto bid. Bids at £550 with the internet looking for 600 any advance. 600 in the room, so 650, 700. At 650 then, 700 we're looking for. Bids at 650 now, all done and sure at 650 and away. So another one right in the middle of the estimate. So out of the three objects today, done really good with the estimates, all smack in the middle, nothing embarrassingly flying away from us, no unsold, so pretty pleased with that. So from incredibly stressed me in the past and chilled, relaxed me in the future. Thank you very much for watching this episode. And do let me know in the comments below what you think of this format. If it's worked, I think we'll probably do this moving forward in all future videos. We'll definitely do this. I think this has been a really good way to look at things, and it wraps up the whole story for you in one video. If you've enjoyed the video and you haven't done so already, please just subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. Leave a like on the video also if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in 7 days where we'll be looking at the antique and collectibles sale, reviewing objects, and also seeing what they made in the sale. And by that time also, I'm thinking maybe the baby might have come. So anyway, have a really great week, and I'll see you next Saturday.